stop stealing. And it says here, even from an enemy, even from people who have stolen from you, even from a racist. Don't steal. Why? Because the racists want you to steal. See, all of these stops are tied to getting rid of racism, really. It may not look like it on the surface, but they are. These 10 stops. So you don't steal. Now, a lot of people have told me in reading that or talking about it down through the years, they say, Fuller, you never had to steal nothing. That's why you talk like that. Talking about don't steal. I mean, a whole lot of black people got to steal. Man, ain't they survived unless they... I say, well, no, we can probably look at it a different way and say maybe we don't. Because maybe you can do something else, like beg. And they say, well, you know, begging ain't going to get you nothing and all like that. I say, well, if you just keep begging, you're going to get something. Even if somebody shows up and say you got to stop begging, which most likely, depending on where you are, someone is going to say, yeah, you're begging, you're soliciting. That's what they'll call it. You're panhandling. You're begging. Well, there are all kinds of historical landmarks for that, you might say, philosophical landmarks. A lot of people call themselves Christians. Well, there was a man named Jesus. He was a beggar. I mean, he asked people to follow him. That's begging. I mean, and he got in trouble doing it. But he wasn't stealing. All right? So it comes down to one question. Is it better to beg or to steal? And when you brainstorm it, you'll come to the conclusion that when it comes to black people in the Northwestern Hemisphere and in other parts of the world, it's probably better to beg. Why? Because you can't steal enough. That's number one. Lots of people find this out the hard way. I look in the papers every day, and I see where some black person, was trying to steal something. Now it's got to do all that hard time. And one of the things that keeps striking me down through the years is what they were trying to steal, they could probably get it from a dump somewhere sometimes. I mean, we're nickel and dime thieves. We're the worst thieves in the world. The black people of this planet. I mean, when I say worse, I mean the sorriest, the most pitiful thieves. That should be the best word. The most pitiful thieves in the world. Now, the white supremacists steal whole continents. They steal whole people. They steal whole villages. I mean, they steal. They are the greatest thieves that the world has ever seen, the white supremacists. But we shouldn't copy them. We shouldn't be petty thieves, and we shouldn't steal on a grand level. I mean, here it is, 2017, and you still have black people who think that they can outsmart the white supremacists when it comes to stealing. I mean, black people who call themselves officials, sitting up behind a desk and thinking that they have discovered some new way of out-stealing from the white supremacists or from people in general, and think that the white supremacists don't know how they are doing it, when the white supremacists are the greatest thieves that the world has ever seen. And they don't know how you go about stealing. They know more about stealing than you and your grandfather and everybody that's coming down in the future will ever know, probably, because they have done so much of it on a huge scale and on a petty scale. So that ought to tell you something right there. You're not going to steal enough to retire and say, I am a master thief. Now I own boats and whatnot out there on the ocean and all like that, and I'm a millionaire and all. Not likely. In particularly, street robbery, which is what black people brag about being, street robbers. The most pitiful type of thief. And that's the next, I say stop stealing. That's number 6. Number 7 is stop robbing, but they both go together. Except stealing is when you sneak and take something. Robbing is when you take something at gunpoint or something like that. You threaten somebody with violence. That's robbery. But both of them is you're taking something from somebody that they don't want you to take. They're not giving it to you. You didn't beg for it or work for it and get it. We need to get out of that mode of thinking because we are not very good at it. Just on that alone, we're not good at it. We pay a heavy price for that nickel and dime nonsense. From this moment on, every white person on the planet who discovers that something is missing, that somebody took it, somebody stole it, should be able to say, well, there's one thing we know for sure. It wasn't a black person. Because black people don't do that kind of stuff no more. We do it. We do it on a grand scale. But black people just don't do it. For whatever they want, they'll ask you for it. And if they don't get it, they'll keep asking. They'll beg you for it. They'll just keep begging until finally you lock them up for begging. And that is the one charge that every black person, if they're locked up, should be guilty of. Guilty of begging. Because there's nothing dishonorable about begging when everything has been taken from you and everything has been taken from black people. We don't have anything that we can really call our own. So we are beggars anyway. Now, there are a lot of black people who will say, oh, no, I don't steal, I don't rob, and I definitely don't beg. I work for everything I got. You beg for a job. Don't say you don't beg. Well, I don't have no job. I'm in business for myself. You beg for a loan. Come on. I don't care how you dress it up.